Hey guys, welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. I'm Brian, Mr. Smith. This is the kitchen. Not that we always come from the kitchen, but tonight we are. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Glad you found me. Hope you get something out of my channel, or at least this video. If you are returning to my channel, thank you. That means I'm doing something right? Or you enjoy being part of our neighborhood, being a good neighbor, part of the community. So if you are new to my channel, Tuesdays we talk about anything and everything. We do some woodworking. Yeah, we do all kinds of stuff. We've been fixing up the garage so that way we can build a new kitchen downstairs. Well, a bigger kitchen downstairs that we'll use to shoot. Basically, it's like a studio. It's kind of cool. That's a project in the works. Wednesdays we cook dinner together. We try to. It's almost always a new recipe, something I've never tried before. So we can either succeed or fail together. Thursdays we usually bake something, which tomorrow, if you tune in, we're doing an absolutely amazing vanilla Swiss roll with a blackberry Philly cream cheese icing and a lemon glaze on top that I will almost guarantee is going to rock your socks off because I've already made the video and I'm here to tell you, check it out. Not to give you any spoilers, but don't want to think about it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below me, somewhere down in there. And you can hit the notification bell, that way you know when my videos come out. I never take the fact you watch my videos for granted. I appreciate every minute of it. And yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down are always great, but not necessary. Comments, love comments, as always. Just keep them polite, think before you type. And you can disagree with me. That's great. I encourage, good conversation or at least a difference of opinion. Just be thoughtful when you say it. We got all ages, sizes, types, backgrounds, all that. And we're respectful. That's all I ask, is you be respectful. So tonight we're going to make it's like an Indian street dish. And I'm probably gonna butcher this name of it, so sorry in advance. But it's a curry stand chicken with a Tikka masala sauce. I'm not sure if the Tikka is right. It's Tikka at any rate. And I have never made this before. Chris Bellers is the guy that posted the recipe on All Recipes, and it sounds amazing. It's got a lot of ingredients, a lot of moving parts, but I think it'll be fun to make and try. Now, I am going to go out of order to what he made it as, and this or the way he does it, only because I think we can make this a one-pan dish, so to speak, versus dirtying up two pans to cook it. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get my camera moved because I want to get you down more on the stove. I've got a new tripod, a newer tripod. I just got it for Christmas, and I want to see. Well, for you it'd be like a millisecond, but I want to see where I got to put my camera at on the stand to be able to see the stove. So give me just 1 second, and when I come back, we'll start making this, and we'll start with the steps to do it all with. All right, I'll be right back. All right, so I wrote the ingredients list and directions down on my notebook. If you're new to my channel, I write every new recipe down in my notebook. I have one for dinners, one for baking, and I've got a notebook for every occasion. But if we like it, we'll keep it in the notebook. If we don't, I just simply tear out the piece of paper and we move on. So the first thing we're going to need is a warming skillet. Which I've got. Now, if you've got a non-stick skillet, you don't have to preheat it. We use nothing but cast iron. For the most part, I have some glass pots and sauce pots and pans, but very rarely do I use them. Almost everything I have is cast iron that I use on a daily basis. But we're going to start with our pan, and we're going to pour 3 tablespoons of oil in, all right, vegetable oil. And once we get that in there, and it's shimmering and smoking, which it's already smoking because the pan's hot, and you want to use a higher heat oil. What we're going to do is I've diced up 4 chicken breasts, okay, right here. I just diced them up into bite-sized pieces. And we're going to throw those in right here. All right. Now, we're not going to cook these completely. We are going to just brown them on the outside. And to this, I'm going to add a half a teaspoon of curry powder. All right. Now, curry powder is strong stuff. So, as much as you can play with the recipe, I would not recommend overusing the curry powder. A little truly goes a long way. Unless you like curry powder. I mean, then you can use more, I guess. But I have just found it's a really strong flavor. And you want to, the key is balance. But, and also in the beginning, the first time I ever do a recipe, I try to follow it verbatim, word for word. This being the one exception. And that's just because I really want to not have to dirty up 2 pans if I don't have to. So we're going to cook this down real quick, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Like I said, we're not looking to cook the inside, cook the chicken all the way through yet, because this is going to sit on the stovetop for 30 minutes after we're done. This isn't a hard dish. It would be a decent weeknight dish. You could especially if you can get everything, because the only thing you have to chop up in this dish is your chicken, which, like I said, is 4 chicken breasts cooked in 3 tablespoons of olive oil or vegetable oil, and then your half teaspoon of curry powder. But you'll have to chop up some onions and some garlic, and that's really it. Everything else is a spice. So we're in good shape there. All right, well, let me get this done up. As soon as it's done up, I'm going to put it back in the bowl in which it came, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, we got our chicken just lightly cooked right there. We about 3 minutes. It's still pink on the inside, very raw. But the next thing, hi, honey. Oh, whose AirPods?
Mommy.
Well, take them back to mommy before she wigs out. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to take 2 tablespoons. Now this calls for ghee, which is clarified butter. I don't have any clarified butter, so we're just going to use 2 tablespoons of regular butter. And we're going to get that melted down. And as soon as we get this melted down, we can, we're going to start sauteing our onions. But we got to get this melted down first. Alright, got our butter melted down. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our onions. Alright. Yep. And we're just going to cook these until they're translucent. Alright, and it's 1 medium onion is what we got in there. And it's fine diced. Yeah, you want it diced small. A lot of times, it's kind of pick how much, what size, and I suppose, like I said, you still could. You could make this your own in many ways, I'm sure. Add a little more of this, a little less than that. The gentleman who gave this recipe, Chris, the recipe calls for a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, but he actually, puts about a tablespoon's worth in his because he likes the heat. But this one only gets a tablespoon because it wants to it's got a balance with the sugar that goes in it. I know these onions smell amazing, but and ghee's good for you. I have a recipe for ghee, but I just have never made it. It's good for like a lifetime. I mean, pretty much, and it's shelf stable, so you can make it yourself, leave it sit out on the counter, and it doesn't, you'll use it way before it ever goes bad. It's healthier for you because you're essentially drawing all the fat out of the butter, and just using what's left, which is nice. All right, now you want these till they start to turn clear, and they're starting to turn clear. I mean, we're getting there. Not quite there yet. It could take about 5 minutes. It just depends on how hot you got your pan. But we want them borderline translucent. Okay, so we're about translucent, but I want to go over the spices and things we need next, because we're about to take our garlic and we're going to put it in there and let it go for about 30 seconds. But then we're going to throw our spices in. And I mean, there's a fair amount of spices that go into this sauce, because this is the sauce that goes over the chicken. So we are going to put into it some cumin. And it's going to be 1 tablespoon of cumin, which is, yeah, right here. 1 tablespoon of cumin. We're going to do 1 teaspoon of curry powder, right there. We are going to do 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of ginger, which is right there. We are going to do cayenne and cinnamon, which we have cayenne, cinnamon, and then turmeric. All right, and that's the spices that we're going to go in there. So we've got a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of ginger, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. We've got a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric, and yeah, that's it. Oh, and a tablespoon of cumin. I'll put them in the listing as we go, for sure. All right, so the next thing we're going to do, now that we've cooked our onions down and they're pretty much translucent, we're going to put in our 4 cloves of garlic. All right, get those in there, and you really want to stir. You want to keep your garlic moving. You don't want that to burn. If it burns, it turns bitter, and you don't want that. Once you can smell your garlic, which will take all of like 20 seconds, we're gonna add our spices in. All right, now the reason why we're adding our spices in now before we add any sauce is these spices are activated with heat and oils. So the butter is acting as an oil along with those juices from the onions, and we're activating them. We're just letting it go maybe 30 seconds. All right, we don't have to let it go long, and you'll smell it. Everything will start to become very fragrant. It smells fantastic at the moment. I wish you were here or we had smell-o-vision, because it really does just smell amazing. All right. Yeah, for this one, I'll put the ingredients list down in the description. I don't normally do that, but there's a lot of spices in this, and I'm sure I screwed something up in there telling you. But, all right. So we've got fragrance. It's happening. Got that in there. Now we're going to add our tomato sauce, which is 1 14-ounce can of your favorite tomato sauce. My favorite tomato sauce is the one we make. We'll get that in there. We'll get it stirred. And we're just going to bring this to a boil, and then we're going to let it simmer, all right, for 10 minutes. So we'll get our sauce turned down to a lower level, and we're just going to let this simmer. And what that's doing is the acidity of the tomatoes is, you know, getting to know all those spices and the onion flavors and the garlic, and I can tell you it smells amazing. So I'm going to let this simmer, and when I come back, we'll move on to the next step. All right, so we've let her simmer down for 10 minutes. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to add 3 more ingredients. We're going to add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream, or just heavy cream, heavy whipping cream. It's called heavy whipping cream. We're going to add that. We are going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar. And then we're going to add 2 teaspoons, if I can keep a hold of it, of paprika. All right, we got that going on. And we're going to mix this all together. Give this a good whooping. And then we'll bring this back up to a boil, and we're going to let this simmer, just like we did the tomato sauce, for about 10 to 15 minutes until it thickens up and, makes a nice thicker sauce. Now, I know there might be some of you out there that use cast iron that say, Brian, you can't do tomatoes in cast iron. You can't do tomato sauces in new cast iron. This pan is very seasoned. It's we've been nonstop on this pan now for 3 years, and it'll be fine. If you have a seasoned pan, you most certainly can use a tomato in it. Now, I wouldn't try to make chili in a Dutch oven, things like that are going to be sitting with tomato for a good long while in it, or you're cooking down tomatoes, stuff like that. You want to use an enameled pan or pot, But for dishes like this in a well-seasoned pan, it's fine. I promise. It will not hurt a thing for those of you that are concerned. All our cast iron is so incredibly seasoned. It would take an act of Congress, the Senate, and the President to get the seasoning off of these pans with just one dish using tomato sauce. And we clean them and oil them every time we use them. So it's not like they don't get their fair share of being taken care of. These pans get treated better than most of our family. So, all right, well, let me get this to a simmer, and we'll let it simmer for about 15 minutes. And then all that's left to do is one more step. So I'll be right back. All right, so we've let it thicken up. We cooked it down for about 15 minutes at a simmer. Now, I did forget to mention, stir it occasionally, or it'll stick to the bottom. Now, all we got to do is add our chicken back into it, and you want the juices from that pan. So when you put your chicken in the bowl from par baking it or par cooking it, make sure you save those juices that are in the pan. So, and we just got to mix it up like such, just like that. Do we have any? Cool. I just said it there. So we're gonna get these nice and coated, and then we're down to the final stage. All right, before we get to throw it over. So now we're gonna have this over some jasmine rice, or with some jasmine rice, and call it a day, and some bread also. But we have to let this cook and simmer for about 30 minutes because we got to finish cooking that chicken, but we want all that flavor to blend in with the chicken and for those chicken juices to get into that sauce. So I'm going to go ahead and put a lid on it. We're going to let it cook and simmer for, like I said, about 30 minutes. If you want, you can take a thermometer to your chicken. Your chicken should read an internal temperature of 165 degrees, and then that way you know your chicken's done. And you're ready to serve. So I will see you when we get back from letting this cook. Okay, so we let her cook for 30 minutes, and then I let her just sit for 10. Just like anything else that involves protein or a lot of heat, you want to give it a chance once you're done cooking just to settle down. And that's what we did. We let her settle down. So give her a good stir. That way we can get you a look at her. All right, and there is our chicken. So next thing to do is just plate it up and give it some, or try some, give it some. So I got the fine china out, as always. This is the best weeknight china ever. I cooked up some jasmine rice while we were letting that simmer. Now, I did not mention, but I should have. You want to stir that. So I got my, you want to give it an occasional stir while it's cooking. You don't want anything to stick to the bottom. You want to keep everything flowing even. Things of that nature. We'll get some, put it on here. I know it smells delicious. Now, before you serve, you want to check it for salt and sugar content. you can, he even says set aside an extra teaspoon of salt, extra teaspoon of sugar, just so you can adjust the flavor for your needs. So there we are, right there, looking good, I think. Set that down for a second so I can move you up here so I can take a look at you. There you are. I'm telling you, even though you were working all day today, you still look fabulous. Like you just jumped out of the shower, got dressed, and ready to start your day. I am so impressed. I wish I could do that. Because I'm here to tell you, I worked all day and I don't look anywhere near as good as you do. And I look good. That's saying something. All right, so let's give her a shot. I got her over the rice. Get some of that rice in there. That is great. I'm not gonna lie. That is absolutely, yeah. I'm digging it. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, we're about ready. I just gotta finish up this video here and bring dinner over to the table. So in his notes on the recipe, he said that he makes, a double or triple batch of this sauce. He said it freezes really great. Just the sauce, everything we made, before we put the chicken in it. And I can see why. I mean, that has got so much flavor. It is unreal. I would definitely. It does have a little bit of heat though to it with the cayenne that's in it. So if you don't like a lot of heat, I would kick that down by half. Or just add a little more sugar to it to balance it. I think it's perfect. Just perfect. Try this. You've got to try this. This is a really good chicken dish, hands down. So that being said, if you do try it, let me know. Let me know what you think. If you added or took away from it, I wouldn't change a thing. Honest to God, I would not change a thing. But if you do, let me know. If you try it, let me know. If you liked it, if you didn't like it. And if you didn't like it, let me know what you didn't like about it. Because I think it's fabulous. I'm never going to throw this recipe away ever. Things you could side this with. I mean, it's a street dish. So, I mean, really, you would just have it in a bowl on the go. But we're going to have it with bread. And croissants to be specific. We had some left over from last night. And Samantha, hey, that's enough. But you can also have a salad with this or anything else like that. So anyhow, give me 1 sec. Sorry about that. I had to go see if someone was at the door. That's normally when Sam does most of her barking. But anyhow, nobody was at the door. So try this. Like I said, salad on the side, some bread. Perfect. Anyhow, I'm going to go put this on the table. Everybody's out there waiting, starving to death like they haven't eaten in months. And enjoy some time with the family. Tomorrow, like I mentioned to earlier, a vanilla Swiss roll with a blackberry Philly cheese icing and a lemon glaze on the top of it. I'm telling you, you'll want to check this one out. Probably give it a shot too. So until tomorrow, I love you. I love you very much. And I do mean that from the bottom of my heart. I promise. Tell somebody else you love them. You love them very much. It's going to make their day a whole lot better. Make this dish and share it with a neighbor. It's going to be a great conversation point. You'll probably become friends for life. All right? I love you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.